Okay, so this time we're going deep on the World Health Organization's good manufacturing practices for pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I was just popping some over-the-counter painkillers the other day,
Uh-huh.
and I really wasn't thinking twice about how they're made.
Right.
But now, thanks to this deep dive request, we're really going to go behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Now,
It's more than just how they're made. It's about ensuring that every single medication,
okay,
whether it's a simple pill or a more complex injectable,
right.
is produced to the same high standard
Yeah.
globally. And these guidelines, often just called GMP,
Yeah.
are really kind of like the bedrock of pharmaceutical production.
So it's not just like having a clean lab coat
Right.
and washing your hands.
Well, hygiene is definitely important.
Right.
But GMP is far more comprehensive.
Okay.
It's about building quality into every single step of the process.
Okay.
So from the raw materials coming in
Right.
to the final product shipping out.
Right.
Think of it as a system of checks and balances that minimizes risks
Gotcha.
at every stage.
Okay, so minimizing risks. Give me an example of that.
Okay, sure.
What's a potential risk that GMP helps prevent?
Okay, so let's say you're manufacturing a liquid medication.
Mm-hmm.
One risk is cross-contamination.
Okay.
So imagine tiny traces of a previous batch, maybe a potent hormone, ending up in your current batch of, say, children's cough syrup.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
GMP requires very strict procedures
Right.
and dedicated facilities for certain products
Yeah.
to prevent that very scenario.
That's a light bulb moment for me. I'm starting to see how these guidelines aren't just these abstract rules. They have
Right.
real-world implications,
Yeah.
for patient safety.
Exactly. And it's not just about contamination. GMP also covers things like equipment calibration, ensuring every measurement is accurate,
Right.
and also the validation of processes.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that each step is working reliably time after time.
This whole validation thing is really intriguing to me.
Uh-huh.
Does that mean that they're constantly running tests and experiments during production?
Yeah, you could say that, every piece of equipment, every procedure, every stage
Wow.
has to be rigorously tested and documented
Okay.
to prove that it consistently delivers the expected quality.
So it's not just about following a recipe. It's about proving that the recipe works perfectly every single time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another really fascinating aspect of GMP,
Okay.
the human factor.
Right. It's easy to picture pharmaceutical production as all, gleaming machines and robots.
Uh-huh.
But this document makes it clear that people are a really crucial part
I
of
know.
something.
And not just scientists and technicians.
Right.
Everyone from the cleaning staff
Yeah.
to the packaging crew
Right.
plays a vital role in maintaining that quality.
Mm-hmm.
GMP actually mandates rigorous training programs and qualifications
Yeah.
for all personnel involved.
So it's not just, having a science degree. You also need a very specialized training to even work in this environment.
Exactly. And the training covers everything.
Wow.
From understanding specific procedures for their role
Okay.
to recognizing and reporting
Right.
potential deviations.
Okay, speaking of deviations, what happens when something goes wrong?
Right. Yeah.
Because after all, even with the best systems in place,
Sure.
mistakes can happen.
Yeah. And that's where the focus on documentation and traceability
Okay.
becomes absolutely crucial.
Right.
GMP requires meticulous record keeping
Mm-hmm.
for every single batch of medication produced.
Okay.
And this allows manufacturers to trace the journey of each ingredient
Right.
and every step in the process, which is essential
Wow.
if there are any issues
Yeah.
that may arise.
So it's like a detective's case file for each batch of medicine.
You could say that, yeah, this level of documentation isn't just about bureaucracy, it's about accountability.
Okay.
So if there's a problem,
Right.
they can pinpoint exactly where it occurred,
Yeah.
why it happened, and what needs to be done to correct it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
So it's like having a safety net built into the entire system.
precisely. And it goes beyond just tracing ingredients and processes. GMP also requires a robust system for handling deviations,
Okay.
complaints, and even product recalls.
Okay, that sounds pretty intense. Can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Yeah, so let's say A patient reports an unexpected side effect
Hmm.
or a batch of medication fails, a quality control test.
Okay.
GMP outlines a step-by-step process
Right.
for investigating those incidents,
Hmm.
identifying the root cause,
Yeah.
and taking corrective actions.
So it's not just about fixing that immediate problem. It's about preventing it from happening again.
Exactly, and it often involves a collaborative effort between different departments.
Right.
So from quality assurance to production
Yeah.
to regulatory affairs.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely getting the sense that communication and collaboration are really crucial.
Absolutely.
Really.
And that's why GMP emphasizes clear communication channels,
Right.
both internally within the company and externally with regulatory bodies like the FDA.
Okay.
Transparency and accountability are paramount.
Okay. This deep dive's already giving me a new appreciation for the complexity of of pharmaceutical production.
Yeah.
But what about those clean areas you mentioned earlier?
Right.
What exactly are those?
So imagine stepping into like a science fiction movie.
Okay.
Clean areas are specifically designed spaces within the manufacturing facility
Right.
where even the air is meticulously controlled.
So that's where they make those really sensitive medications that you mentioned earlier, right?
Exactly. Think about products like injectable medications,
Right.
certain vaccines or cell therapies.
Wow.
These require an almost sterile environment
Right.
to prevent any contamination.
So it's not just about like wiping down the surfaces. We're talking about controlling the very air that they breathe in these clean areas.
Yeah, they use specialized air filtration systems, strict gowning procedures,
Mhm.
and even positive air pressure
Wow.
to keep contaminants out.
Okay.
It's all about minimizing the risk
Why?
of even the tiniest particle affecting that final product.
It's incredible to think about the level of precision and control involved.
Yeah.
It's like building a fortress
It really is.
to protect those medications.
And the specific requirements for those clean areas, they vary
Right.
depending on the type of product
Oh, I
being
feel.
manufactured.
Right.
Some medications require even more stringent controls.
So it's like a facility within a facility,
You could say that.
each with its own unique set of rules and protocols.
Yeah, and that's just one aspect of the physical environment. GMP also covers things like water quality,
Right.
waste disposal,
Mm.
and even pest control
Wow.
to ensure that the entire facility is maintained to the
Okay.
highest standards.
Okay, my brain is starting to get a little full,
Uh-huh.
but I have one more question.
Okay.
You know, we've talked a lot about procedures and protocols,
Right.
but what about the people
Yeah.
who actually work in these facilities? What kind of training and expertise do they need?
That's a great question. GMP recognizes that the people involved are just as important as the equipment and the facilities.
Okay.
And it outlines very specific requirements for personnel qualifications
Yeah.
and training,
Right.
ensuring that everyone understands their role in maintaining that quality.
So it's not just about having a science degree.
Yeah,
You need very, very specific expertise to work in this field.
exactly. And the required expertise varies depending on the role.
Okay.
So, for instance, quality control personnel need a very deep understanding of analytical techniques
Right.
and regulatory requirements,
Right.
while production operators need to be skilled in operating complex equipment
Okay.
and following those precise procedures.
It sounds like ongoing training is a crucial part
Absolutely.
of working in this industry.
GMP mandates regular training
Yeah.
and competency assessments
Right.
to ensure that everyone stays up to date
Okay.
on the latest procedures and technologies.
So it's a constantly evolving field
Yeah.
with people constantly learning and adapting to new challenges.
Precisely, and that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's a very dynamic industry
Right.
that's always pushing the boundaries of science and technology
Right.
while never losing sight of its core mission to safeguard patient health.
Well, after this deep dive into GMP, I'm definitely going to look at my medicine cabinet with a new level of respect and understanding.
Me too.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to take these medications for granted,
Right.
but this deep dive has shown me the incredible level of care and attention
Yeah.
that goes into making sure that they're safe and effective.
I'm already eager to hear more. We've only just scratched the surface, haven't we?
We have indeed. In part two, we'll delve into how these GMP guidelines adapt to the ever-evolving world of pharmaceuticals. It's pretty amazing how meticulous pharmaceutical production is.
Yeah.
But it also raises a question for me.
Okay, lay on me.
Well, we've talked about how GMP lays out all these,
Right.
detailed procedures
Yeah.
for everything from cleaning to documentation.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when those procedures need to change?
Okay.
The world of pharmaceuticals is constantly evolving
Oh.
with new technologies and therapies emerging all the time.
Right.
So how does GMP adapt to that?
That's a great point. It would be pretty limiting if these guidelines were just set in stone.
Yeah.
So how do they keep up with the pace of innovation?
Well, one of the key principles embedded in GMP
Yeah.
is this idea of continuous improvement.
Okay.
So it's not just about following the rules.
Right.
It's about constantly evaluating and refining those processes
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that they're as effective and efficient
Right.
as possible.
So it's not a static rule book. It's more like a living document
Exactly.
that's constantly being updated and revised.
Right. And a big part of that adaptation
Yeah.
involves incorporating new technologies and approaches.
Okay.
So, for instance, think about the rise of personalized medicine.
Okay.
We're moving away from these one-size-fits-all treatments
Right.
towards therapies that are tailored to an individual's genetic makeup.
That's definitely a game changer.
Yeah.
But how does that impact GMP?
Well, it really challenges that traditional model of mass production. Manufacturing personalized therapies often involves smaller batches
Right.
and more complex processes.
Mm-hmm.
So GMP has to adapt and provide guidance on how to maintain quality
Right.
in these new scenarios.
So it's not just about like scaling down production. It's about adapting the entire quality management system
Exactly.
to fit these new more individualized therapies.
Precisely.
Wow.
And that requires
Yeah.
flexibility, innovation,
Right.
and a really close collaboration
But yeah.
between manufacturers, regulators, and researchers.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like GMP is constantly being pushed to evolve and keep pace with the cutting edge of science.
It is, and that's where concepts like quality by design
Uh,
come into play.
Okay, I've heard that term thrown around,
Right.
but I'll admit I'm not entirely clear on what it means.
Sure.
Can you kind of break it down for me?
Yeah. So think of it this way. Traditionally, quality control was really focused on testing that final product
Okay.
to make sure it met all the specifications.
Right.
But quality by design kind of flips that on its head.
Yeah.
It's about proactively building quality into the product
Okay.
and the process from the very beginning.
So it's not about catching defects at the end. It's about designing them out of the system.
Exactly. And it involves, a really deep understanding
Oh.
of the product, the process,
Yeah.
and all the potential risks involved.
Right.
It's about using scientific knowledge and data
Mhm.
to make informed decisions
Okay.
about every aspect of production.
Can you give me a real world example
Sure.
of how quality by design is being implemented in the pharmaceutical industry?
Absolutely. So imagine you're developing a new drug
Okay.
that's very sensitive to temperature changes.
Okay.
With a quality by design,
Mhm.
you wouldn't just, slap a keep refrigerated sticker on the bottle and call it a day.
Right.
You would analyze that entire production process
Okay.
from storage of raw materials
Wow.
to shipping of that final product
Yeah.
to identify any potential temperature variations
Right.
and implement controls
Got
to
it.
minimize those risks.
So it's about anticipating problems
Yeah.
before they even arise
Yeah.
and building solutions into the system from the ground up.
Precisely. It's a much more holistic and proactive approach
Right.
to quality management.
Okay.
And it's really essential for ensuring the safety and efficacy of these increasingly complex medications
Yeah.
that are emerging.
It sounds like quality by design kind of goes hand in hand with that continuous improvement
That's
aspect we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and it's a key part of how GMP is adapting
Okay.
to the changing landscape of pharmaceuticals. It's
Right.
not just about following a checklist. It's
Yeah.
about constantly pushing the boundaries,
Yeah.
innovating,
Mm.
and finding new ways to improve quality.
It's it's fascinating how these guidelines are both like incredibly detailed
Yeah.
and yet flexible enough to to accommodate new technologies and approaches.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance for sure,
Yeah.
but it's essential for ensuring that medications are
Mhm.
produced to those highest standards,
Okay.
regardless of how complex or innovative they
Yeah.
might be.
Okay, I'm feeling a lot more informed about the adaptive nature of GMP.
Right.
What about the global aspect? We're
Right.
talking about the World Health Organization's guidelines here.
Yeah.
How do they ensure consistency
Yeah.
across different countries and regulatory bodies?
That's a crucial point. While the WHO guidelines
Mm.
provide a global framework,
Right.
different countries and regions have their own regulatory bodies,
Right.
like the FDA in the United States
Mm.
or the European Medicines Agency in Europe.
Right. Okay. So how do they all work together
Right.
to maintain a certain level of global standardization?
So there's a lot of effort put into harmonizing
Okay.
these different regulatory requirements.
Mm.
The WHO guidelines kind of serve as a baseline,
Okay.
and then individual countries can build upon those
Right.
with their own specific regulations.
It sounds like a very complex web
Yeah.
of international collaboration and cooperation.
It is, and it's essential for ensuring that medications produced in one country
Right.
meet the quality standards of another.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Medications are traded globally,
Yeah.
so it's vital to have that level of consistency and trust.
It makes you realize just how interconnected the world of pharmaceuticals is.
Absolutely, and GMP plays a vital role
Yeah.
in maintaining that interconnectedness
Okay.
and ensuring that that patients everywhere
Right.
have access to those safe, effective, and high-quality medications.
Okay, this deep dive is really expanding my understanding of how GMP works on a global scale.
Good.
But before we move on,
Yeah.
I have one more question about something you mentioned earlier, deviations.
Right.
We talk about what happens when something goes wrong.
Sure.
But what are some common examples
Okay.
of deviations that might occur in pharmaceutical protection?
That's a great question. Deviations can range from minor incidents
Yeah.
to major events,
Right.
and they can occur at any stage of
Yeah.
that production process.
Okay. Could you give me some specific examples?
Sure. So imagine a scenario
Okay.
where a technician notices a slight crack in a vial
Okay.
during that filling process.
Right.
That would be considered a deviation, even
Okay.
if that crack seems pretty insignificant.
So even a seemingly small issue needs to be
Absolutely.
documented and investigated.
Remember, GMP is all about minimizing those risks.
Right.
Even a small crack
Right.
could potentially compromise the sterility of the
Yeah.
product, so it needs to be addressed.
Okay. That makes sense. What about a more significant deviation?
Okay, so let's say a batch of medication fails a quality control test
Okay.
for potency.
Huh.
That would be a major deviation,
Right.
triggering a full-blown investigation
Okay.
to determine the root cause
Okay.
and implement corrective actions.
So it's not just about discarding that faulty batch.
Yeah.
It's about understanding why it failed and
Exactly.
preventing it from happening again.
Exactly. It might involve reviewing that manufacturing process,
Right.
analyzing the raw materials,
Right.
or even retraining personnel.
Wow.
The goal is to identify that source of the problem
Yeah.
and implement a permanent solution.
It sounds like a very systematic and thorough
It is.
approach to problem solving.
And that's crucial
Yeah.
for maintaining the integrity
Yeah.
of the entire system. Every deviation,
Right.
whether it's big or small,
Yeah.
is an opportunity to learn and improve.
It's it's reassuring to know that there are these robust systems in place
Yeah.
to catch and correct
Yeah.
these deviations.
It is, and GMP is the driving force behind those systems,
Right.
ensuring that every medication that reaches a patient
Hmm.
meets those highest standards of quality and safety.
Okay, I'm feeling a lot more confident about the medications in my medicine cabinet now.
Me too. It's easy to take those pills and injections for granted.
Right.
But this deep dive has shown me the incredible level of care and attention
Right.
that goes into making sure that they're safe and effective.
This deep dive is really opening my eyes to a whole hidden world
Yeah.
of pharmaceutical production, and I'm eager to hear more.
Okay.
What else is there to explore?
Well, we've talked a lot about the technical aspects Right.
of GMP, but there's another dimension that's equally important.
Go.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll delve into the ethical considerations that underpin these guidelines,
Right.
and explore how they're shaping the future of the pharmaceutical industry.
You know, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From clean rooms to global harmonization.
Yeah.
It's clear that GMP is a complex and ever-evolving system.
Yeah.
But there's one more layer I'm kind of curious to explore.
Okay.
The ethical side of things.
Right.
It's not just about following rules, is it?
Yeah.
There's a deeper purpose behind these guidelines.
You're absolutely right. At its core, GMP is all about protecting patients.
Okay.
It's about ensuring that that every medication that reaches someone in need is safe, effective, and of the highest quality. And that's really the ethical foundation that drives everything else. So it's not just about like ticking boxes and passing inspection.
Right.
It's about a commitment to doing what's right for the people who rely on these medications.
Precisely. And that commitment extends beyond just the manufacturing process itself.
Right.
It encompasses everything from research and development to clinical trials to post-market surveillance.
Wow.
It's about taking responsibility for that entire life cycle of medication.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how ethics is woven into the very fabric of GMP.
Yeah.
It's not just a separate set of rules. It's an integral part of the whole system.
Exactly. And it's reflected in the emphasis on transparency and accountability.
Okay.
GMP requires manufacturers to be open about their processes, to document their actions, and to be willing to answer for any shortcomings.
Yeah, that makes me think about those deviation reports we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about identifying mistakes. It's about being honest about them, and taking steps to prevent them from happening again.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about creating a culture of continuous improvement, where everyone involved is committed to learning from mistakes and striving for excellence.
This reminds me of something we touched on in part 2.
Yeah.
Quality by design.
Right.
It's not just about following a checklist. It's about proactively building quality into every step of the process.
Yeah.
That feels like a very ethical approach to me.
I agree. Quality by design goes beyond just meeting those minimum requirements. You know, it's about a mindset, a commitment to going above and beyond to ensure that highest possible quality for patients.
Yeah, it's like there's like a moral imperative driving this quest for quality and safety.
There is, and it's especially important in the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
Because we're dealing with people's health and well-being. The stakes are incredibly high.
Okay, I'm getting a good sense of the ethical weight that underpins GMP. But what about the future?
Right.
We're in an era of rapid technological advancements.
Yeah.
How are these ethical considerations kind of shaping the future of pharmaceutical production?
That's a great question. One area where we're seeing a significant impact is in the realm of data integrity.
Okay.
You know, with the increasing digitization of pharmaceutical manufacturing, ensuring the accuracy, the reliability, and the security of data is paramount.
So it's not just about paper trails anymore. It's about protecting electronic records.
Exactly.
And making sure that they can't be tampered with.
Right. And it raises all sorts of ethical questions about data privacy, cybersecurity, and the responsible use of artificial intelligence in pharmaceutical production.
Yeah, it sounds like GMP is having to adapt to the digital age.
It is.
And grapple with a whole new set of ethical challenges.
It is, and it's an ongoing conversation within the industry as technology continues to evolve.
Right.
So too must the ethical framework that guides its use.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the multifaceted nature of GMP.
Yeah.
It's not just a set of regulations.
Right.
It's a reflection of a deeper commitment to quality, safety, and ultimately to the well-being of patients around the world.
No, I couldn't agree more. And as the pharmaceutical industry continues to innovate and evolve, GMP will continue to play a vital role in ensuring that those innovations are developed and delivered responsibly and ethically.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of good manufacturing practices.
Yeah.
We've explored the intricate processes, the guidelines, and the ethical considerations that ensure the safety and efficacy of the medications we all rely on.
You know, we've seen how GMP is much more than just a set of rules.
Right.
It's a framework that ensures quality, promotes safety, and ultimately safeguards the health of millions of people around the globe.
It's a fascinating and complex system.
It is.
And one that plays a vital role in all of our lives.
It does.
So the next time you reach for that bottle of pills or that injectable medication, take a moment to appreciate the intricate web of science, technology, and human expertise that brought it to your hands.
It's really quite remarkable.
It is. It is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.